Okay guys, this is a long FRQ, so let's go through it. Okay, so notice that we're talking about the market for corn and how it's used for ethanol, which is an alternative fuel. It's in a perfectly competitive market. That, of course, is important. We're going to do side-by-side graphs for both the corn market and one corn farmer. So first thing we'll do is draw out those two graphs, and then we're going to label the equilibrium price and quantity, PM and QM, and the profit maximizing quantity, QF. So let's see what that looks like down here. I'm going to make them relatively small because I didn't give you guys all that much room. Smaller than I would normally do it. Okay, so here's the market, and here is the firm. So in the market, we have downsloping demand and upsloping supply. That's going to dictate this quantity, which we're going to label QM, correct? Yes, QM, and the price, PM. And then over here, we get our demand. So this is our price. Demand equals marginal revenue. We've got our marginal cost curve. And notice that the representative farmer is making zero economic profit. So we know then that our average total cost curve is going to be right here. So now we label this quantity QF. And that does it for part A. Now, assume that the demand for ethanol increases. On your graph in A, let's see what happens. So when demand shifts, I'm going to pick a new color here. We'll do it in red. We get a new demand curve here. So that's D1. Actually, I guess we'll make it D star because they want a new market price to be P star and Q star. So here's Q star, and here is P star. Make that a prettier P. Okay, and now we go over here and we get a new demand and a new marginal revenue curve. So, and then we have to shade completely the area of profit or loss. So since price went up, we are going to earn a profit. And remember, we draw our dotted line straight down here. So this is our Q star. And then we draw dotted lines over. We have to shade that completely now. So we shade that in, and then we will label it economic profit. So that's that. Now, relative to my answer in part B, state what will happen to the market equilibrium price and quantity of corn in the long run. Okay, so in the long run, what is going to happen, and I'm going to break another rule, and I'm going to put it inside here because, again, we don't have very much space. So in the long run, because there is profit, new farmers will enter the market. Okay, that is going to increase supply, which is going to decrease equilibrium price and erase profit. And the reason for that is, of course, because when there's profit, new firms will enter. That will just always happen. Okay, now we get to D. This is a little bit more complex, but it's a similar idea. So if soybeans are also perfectly competitive, and farmers can grow either corn or soybeans on the same land, that means that they're substitutes. What happens to the price of soybeans in the next planting season if corn increases? All right, so we'll do D here. Soybeans will experience a decrease in supply because farmers are going to choose to plant more corn. When farmers plant more corn, they will do so at the expense of soybeans. So a leftward shift of supply will cause the price to rise. So I think that's all we need to say. Well, yeah, let's add because corn and soybeans are substitutes. And that pretty much ought to do it. Okay, now assume the government sets a binding price ceiling. Draw a new correctly labeled graph. So notice it's a new graph, so that means we are going to draw a whole new one. So here is our graph. We've got Q here, P here. This is supply, this is demand. So it's a binding price ceiling. Okay, so that means that it is effective, and that means that we're going to have the equilibrium price be outside of the room. Okay, so here's our ceiling, okay, right there, and here is our equilibrium above the ceiling, which means that it's going to be a problem. Now this quantity will be supplied, this quantity will be demanded. The question, of course, is asking, so after we label PC, which we did, the quantity purchased by consumers in the corn market labeled QP. Now, consumers will want to purchase everything that is available. But of course, suppliers are only going to make this amount right here. So QP is going to be determined by the quantity of supply. And there you have it. That is your first long, purely competitive FRQ. Thanks, guys.